Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. It's December 10th. And so today we are going to be talking about our upcoming winter storms because we actually have upcoming winter storms, and some of them could be pretty big. We have a potential nor'easter midweek next week, and we have a weekend winter storm for the Midwest, one of the first big ones of the season. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Let's get started here. So right now we have this is the 500 millibar winds. We can see we have our large ridge across the east, bringing above average temperatures to much of the east. And when we have an upper level low, looks to be across southern Arizona right there. And this is good. This is our next system right here. This upper level low is going to be getting pushed out into the plains. This is going to be turning. This is already bringing snow to areas like it's brought some snow to Albuquerque earlier. It actually brought Phoenix the first rain, and I'm pretty sure it was over 100 days. So that was pretty good. This is going to be moving east to the northeast, this piece of energy, and that is going to be our next winter storm. As we can see, this was today. As we go into this is tomorrow morning now. We can see we have a large trough forming right here, and this is what we have going on. Not a perfect scenario, but this will be a pretty strong low pressure system, especially once it gets into areas like Michigan and Indiana and into that part of the Midwest. We can see this is Friday morning. We actually have a chance for severe weather in areas like eastern Texas and southeastern Oklahoma, which we're also going to be looking at in a second. Friday morning we have this going on. The ridge is starting to get pushed out of the east finally. So no more above average temperatures. You will have to wait a few days, though, in some areas for those to actually go away. You will have to wait for this trough to move in. And then Friday afternoon, of course, the trough pushes east a little bit more. And it does start to strengthen. So we can see we are starting to get stronger winds in the upper levels. And then by Saturday morning, this is when our winter storm is really going to start to get going this Saturday. We have a very strong negative tilted trough right here. It is not it's not extremely strong. It's not the perfect scenario, but it is decent. This will be setting the scenario for some winter weather across areas of the Midwest. So areas like Madison, Milwaukee potentially, and a lot of northern Michigan could be seeing decently heavy snow, especially heavy in northern Michigan. Then that pushes east. It does weaken as it goes into the northeast, and then we have this coming down. This is another potential winter storm. This is Sunday afternoon. We have a very fast-moving piece of energy. We have our old winter storm trough. It really did nothing to the east. It moved east. That will likely bring some snow to areas like northern Maine, but it's not going to be doing a lot to the northeast or the east, winter weather-wise. And we can see this is Sunday afternoon, and a really interesting looking trough down here. And so that is going to be pushing east, and that moves up. And then we have another piece. Now, this is not going to be our nor'easter. This is just going to be a fast-moving rainstorm for areas like the south that will bring some rain. Nothing big, though. It is currently in the northwest. So that's going to be exiting around Monday afternoon. And then this. Now, this will likely be a pretty big deal. This is Tuesday morning. Now, this is a pretty strong trough right there. It is closed off, though. And that moves east. And it finally joins, and this could be our potential nor'easter for the northeast. This looks pretty good for a nor'easter across the northeast. And, of course, that has to not work, right? So that does look pretty good for a nor'easter across the northeast. So we're going to go pretty in-depth on that. And talk about that in a second. And then we can see we have other multiple pieces of energy that move across the country. So we're starting to get into a more active pattern now, as this is December. And yeah, so with our winter storm tomorrow across the Midwest, we are going to have a slight severe weather chance. We have a marginal risk for severe weather for areas like eastern Texas, into southeastern Oklahoma, into Arkansas, and northwestern Louisiana. And cities included in that is Houston, Dallas, and Little Rock. And I'm pretty sure Shreveport. I think Shreveport. And then we do not have really a tornado risk tomorrow, according to the SPC. We have a 5% wind threat, though, and no hail threat. So mainly just a wind threat tomorrow. So yeah, that's what we're going to be seeing. And we do not have a day 3, though. So day 3 does not look like we're going to have any severe weather on Saturday. Just a band of showers moving throughout the east. We could get a marginal, but it's not likely. So yeah, now let's start looking at our actual winter storm. We're going to start with the Midwest part of it, or the Midwest winter storm, because that's coming up. It's coming up soon now. So this is tomorrow afternoon. We have some snow starting to get going right by Omaha, and it's starting. This is when the storm system is trying to get together in the plains. We could have our severe weather chance in Texas. And you see, it's not extremely organized yet. It is starting to get that look, though. Maybe some snow starting to get into southern Wisconsin and mixing into northwestern Illinois and eastern Iowa. But it's not going to really get started until around Friday evening, which we see we have a decent-looking snow band with moderate snow going from areas like northern Kansas on the backside of this all the way up into Michigan. So not extremely heavy, not blizzard conditions, just a small little winter storm for the Midwest. And this is now early Saturday morning. The storm system is strengthening. We have maybe a potential squall line right here. There's some severe weather in this area, or thunderstorms. And we have our warm front set up like this. So a pretty organized storm system, actually. It's not extremely strong, though. And we have snow coming into northern Kansas, almost to Kansas City. Moderate snow in Iowa by areas like Des Moines. And we can see how we can get up to around the Cedar Rapids area. Not really in southern Wisconsin, though. Southern Wisconsin has kind of downtrended for snowfall recently. Then into Monday morning, this storm system strengthens across central Illinois, kind of right on top of Springfield. And we have some light to moderate snow coming into Iowa, and some light snow making it almost down Kansas City. And we have actually some pockets of potentially heavy snow in eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, maybe extreme northwestern Illinois. And the snow is just getting started in areas like Michigan. And then by Saturday afternoon, it really gets going across northwestern Indiana. It's now at 999 millibars. And we can see our next storm right here is going to be our southeast or south one that's just going to move across the south, bring some rain. Not a whole lot of winter weather other than in the mountains. And yeah, so you can see we actually have heavy snow in the areas to the northwest of Chicago going up into Michigan. Now, northern and central Michigan is likely going to get hit the hardest with heavy snow accumulation. Could even see a foot in some parts. It's actually becoming likely now. And then by Sunday afternoon, we still have moderate to heavy snow in eastern Michigan and light snow for the rest of northern and central Michigan. And on the backside of this low pressure, we could have some snow flurries coming down into central Illinois, southern Iowa, northern Missouri on the backside of this. And it is starting to weaken at this point, though. As you guys can see, we don't really have an organized band of rain anymore, thunderstorms. And it has lost a few millibars of strength. And it continues moving northeast. This is now Sunday morning. It's into Canada now. And it is weakening a lot, bringing some snow to northern Maine. And we have our next storm system entering Texas now, bringing some snow to areas like Kansas, maybe the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles, and eastern Colorado. So yeah, this is really strengthening, and there could be maybe a few snow flurries making it down to areas like Detroit on the backside of that, but definitely showing signs of weakening. And then Sunday morning weakens a little bit more, brings some decent snowfall to northern Maine. Nothing unusual to northern Maine this time of year, though. And mainly just rain for areas like New York, PA, and much of the Northeast. So definitely not a major, definitely barely even not really a snowstorm for the Northeast other than Maine. And then, yeah, just some light to moderate snow for Canada, but nothing big. And then the European, though, is actually indicating maybe some pockets of heavy snow in the northern Texas Panhandle and northwestern Oklahoma Sunday morning. This is actually going to bring some snow to areas like Oklahoma City potentially. We can see, we go to Sunday afternoon. This is going to be very fast moving though, so snowfall accumulations will be generally pretty low with this. And we can see it's moving already through Oklahoma City, bringing some mix all the way down even to southern Oklahoma, even in the areas like Tulsa and northeastern Oklahoma also. And it is showing signs of, well, we aren't going to really have a whole lot of cold air to work with this. So this is not going to move. Southern Oklahoma is not likely going to get a decent amount of accumulating snow. But northern Oklahoma, especially northwestern Oklahoma, could. Then this moves east across the southeast and strengthens again. And this is going to bring some snowfall likely into the Appalachians, all the way down to North Georgia and up to around West Virginia. And then that moves off again. And then this is our next winter storm. This is our nor'easter. But first of all, we're going to look at the snowfall accumulations with our Midwest snowstorm. This is the European. Let's see what we have. So actually, this is not bad. We have a few inches of snow in Colorado with this for areas like Denver and Colorado Springs. This could be a decent snowstorm though for the Midwest. We can see we have a band of snow going from around northwestern Kansas all the way into northern and central Michigan, with a very short cutoff line. Though areas right here, no snow. A little bit to the north, around a foot almost. So that's pretty good. I do think areas of northern and central Michigan will likely see a foot of snow. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be all over. Localized areas could see up to a foot. Most areas though likely see around 8 to 10, maybe a little bit less if you're unlucky, or you're lucky if you hate snow. And in northern Illinois here, in southern Wisconsin, we could see, I don't think we're going to see this much snow. I think we could see up to maybe localized 6 to 9 inches. I don't think we're going to be seeing a foot of snow in these areas, though. It's not out of the question, though. If it does happen, it will likely happen in eastern Iowa or southwestern Wisconsin. So yeah, that's what we have with the European. And actually, we're going to switch to the GFS here and see what the GFS is saying for snowfall accumulation. So the latest GFS, which is the 18Z, should be out. Yep. So the 18Z is out. 00Z yet? No. Okay, it looks like the 00Z, though, that shifted north a little bit, and that's not good. Let's go to the 18Z, though. You can see it was a little bit further south. And with the GFS, though, snowfall accumulations are a good amount less. Or actually, no, we have to go out further. But you can see the GFS is indicating quite a lot of snow across Oklahoma, with up to 6 to 7 inches in Oklahoma City, which is a lot for Oklahoma City. I think that is unlikely. I think the snowfall accumulations for Oklahoma City will likely be in the couple-inch range, maybe up to around 4 at the most. I think 7 inches is a little bit out of the question. So yeah, we do see our band of snow from northwestern Kansas through Omaha around 1 to 3 inches. And we do have less snow on the GFS than we did the European areas like northern or southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. But we have about the same in Michigan, just not as widespread. So yeah, I think the GFS is a little bit more. I think the GFS is a little bit more realistic with our Midwest snowstorm, and it does have actually decent snowfall for northern Maine, almost a foot in some areas, which that is possible. But this is not going to be a widespread northeastern snowstorm, as you guys can see. So yeah, let's see what the European is saying for Oklahoma snowfall. A little bit on the a little bit less, only around 3 to 4 inches for Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City could see that much snow. All of it's not going to accumulate though, so you could only end up with around a couple inches. But if it is colder, then you could see maybe 4. If it's cold enough though, and the ground's cold enough for it to actually accumulate. So yeah, now let's talk about our potential nor'easter. So first of all, we're going to be looking at the European model first, or actually this is the GFS. So we're going to look at the GFS first. And the GFS does not have a massive winter storm for the Northeast at all. This is December 16th at around 1 p.m. You can see we have light to moderate snow for eastern PA and moderate snow making it into areas like New York City and northern New Jersey and southeastern New York. And then this moves further to the northeast. And by around 7 p.m., we have snow moving in the areas like Boston, Hartford, and Providence. And yeah, definitely not very heavy. Maybe some heavy snow kind of towards the Nantucket area. Nothing too significant, though. Now, what could be interesting about this, if it happens like the GFS is saying, is it's going to be affecting areas like New York City, coastal areas, which New York City has not gotten much at all this year for snow. It could affect New York City. Yeah, it would be interesting if the GFS does happen. Now, GFS, keep in mind, GFS is a low pressure a lot further south than the European does. So let's look at the European. This is the latest model run of the European. And we can see the European has areas of northern Virginia, Maryland getting hammered with heavy snow. As it moving northeast in areas like Pennsylvania, extremely heavy snow in Pennsylvania. And New York City, though, keep in mind, has a low pressure even going into New Jersey, so a lot further to the north. And then it has very heavy snow for areas like Albany, New York, and areas in central Massachusetts and even southeastern Massachusetts. Very heavy snow right next to the rain snow line. So the European has this being a pretty major winter storm for the Northeast. And the problem with this is its coastal areas won't be affected as much. Areas like Boston will potentially get a good amount of snow. Areas like New York City won't. You'll kind of be on that rain snow line. If the European happens like this, then New York City could just get a mix. Now keep in mind this is very far out. This is about a week out. This is next Wednesday and Thursday. So this is likely going to change on what actually happens. So we're gonna have to see if this shifts further south or if it shifts further north. We go to severe weather, or not severe weather. Let's go to winter weather. This is the European. Let's take a look at total accumulated snowfall to 10-to-1 ratios. It's probably going to be a lot. All right, this is going to be, oh my gosh. Okay, so northern Virginia, 15 inches. 20 inches in central PA, which is a lot. We have a foot of snow going all the way from around the mountains of West Virginia all the way up to Long Island. New York City, the European actually has around a foot of snow, which that could be less, though. This is a 10-to-1 ratio, which the ratio for New York City could only be it could be less than 10-to-1. So you could end up with less snowfall. But these snowfall totals are very large. And if this actually happens, this would be probably one of the most major winter storms of the year for the Northeast. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen like the European. It's probably going to downtrend a little bit with the European model, but we'll have to see. And I will be back on Saturday. I'll be back on Saturday for another forecast. But first, let's look at the GFS accumulations. We're going to use the Cherry ratio because the Kuchera ratio is normally more accurate than the 10-1. That's what I've noticed. So yes, it's pretty far out. Now, GFS is a lot less snowfall, but areas like 2.6 by Islip, I think that's how you say it, Long Island, and around 1.5 for Philadelphia, several inches in eastern PA, and a few inches for New York City. So 3 inches is a pretty good amount of snow for New York City, and definitely not very, very not similar to the European model at all with snowfall accumulations. The GFS is the level a lot further south, and if it's further north, we'll get heavy snow across more interior areas. And if it's further south, if it's too far south and it doesn't strengthen as much as we need it to, then we're going to see less snowfall, but we're going to see it in more coastal cities like New York City. And yeah, so we're going to have to see what happens with that. That'll wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back on Saturday, and we'll see what's actually happening with this. But yes, bye.